Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian. If you happen to be new around here, we have just wrapped up our stream for Ashes of Creation. The game apparently suffered a DDoS attack and is offline, so we're going to be pivoting over and jumping back into some new world. I'm going to see how many exp dungeons I can get in or PvP I can get in. Really, I've been just having an absolute blast with this game. As I like to do, these are college shows. You can come in, hang out, and join me if you wish. Just take out the top link in the description, come in, hang out, and we'll have some fun. We're talking, at least the subjects rolling over from the previous stream, we were talking about kind of the culture war, something that comes up from time to time. This last week, we had some guests on the podcast, kicked up a whole heap of drama, and I think continues to reaffirm exactly what I've been saying this whole time. So there's still lots of work to do, lots of things to discuss there. Then we're also talking about Twitch's ad apocalypse. There is a massive decline over there because of politics, and that obviously has caused the advertising community to start to boycott them, and they're not returning seemingly. So there's a lot of pressure on Twitch. We're gonna see what happens. Some people have predicted that the Twitch will wrap it up here in the next couple of years. They might just call it in. Who knows? We will see. I'm getting some kind of, I'm not getting the right level of fidelity that I normally get on GeForce now. Maybe that's because of the settings here. Let's check it out. All right, video, full screen. Yeah, what is this resolution? All right, here we go. That's better. That's better. Something flipped up there. There we go. All right, I'm gonna lower down the music so we don't get any conflicts. What's up, Minus10 says PC player and loving the relaunch of Aeternum. All right, Minus, when did you step away? Talk to me about your experience so far, because I too am loving it. I too am also very curious about what happens next. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But let's bring in our illustrious call-in folks.
Nobody has. Everybody has a GPU. The question then becomes, at what price? You know, at what types of GPUs are you offering? That type of stuff. What's the price performance?
What's the quality? What's the power level?
Yeah. How much availability do you have? Because it's a resource thing. How much compute power do you have available?
Is anybody available in game to come help me like fight this boss?
I don't have the game.
Ah, we gotta get you in.
I need to, but again, it's just I've been spending so much money on like food.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm in London now, so it's like,
dude,
my dad spent £7.50 on a pint today.
£7 for a pint?
£7 for a pint.
Jeez Louise, like man.
$10 or something?
That's got to be like 12. I mean, my exchange rate might be completely low.
It's not that high. The exchange rate is like $1.30 or something per pound.
Okay.
It was expensive. It was like my mother had a roast, like a Sunday dinner roll, and that was like £25.
Yeah.
And it's all for like it reminded me of New York, where I went to get like a breakfast, and it was next to Central Park, and it cost me like £60 for a lot of us.
I was gonna say, yeah, dude, in New York City, especially Central, like certain, yeah.
Big zombie.
There's this really famous bagel place, and they do like these crazy bagels with like bacon and egg and all that.
Yeah.
It's like $15 for one.
Yeah. No, that's pretty stuff.
The zombie says, welcome back. Minus says, stepped away last December, enjoying the new storyline from level 1. And leveling is easier. Crafting grind is not as grindy. Noctis says, I may pick up the PS version next week. Dude, I would highly encourage it, Noctis. Yeah. It is a fun, like, even if it's like, this isn't going to be my forever game, like, there is such beauty and really some, like, it has some real good hooks that you're like, yeah, if this is a game that just people check out for like a month or two every year, I think that's what MMOs truly have become. Ramsel says, am I a healer? Yes, I main as a healer.
Greedfall has been introducing me a lot more to sort of like the colonial period, times.
Yeah.
Greedfall?
Yeah, it's an RPG. And I've never been a fan of like the colonial period, especially like Spanish theme. I always tend to find that a bit weird. It's like introduced me a lot. I'm thinking of getting New World, and basically for me the benefits of New World is no subscription.
Yeah.
it's the content. It's got a deep dive player base, and it's like I can just come and play it and then leave. I'm not bound shackled to it like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Where like, you know, you've got a where they try and say get a 6-month subscription, and then you're like, well, I won't be using that for like 4 of the 6.
Dude, what's it called? I went to when I first got back into WoW like recently, and it's like, oh, pick your subscription, and it's like it defaults to 12 months. I'm just like, dude, I don't even know if I'll be playing in 12 months.
You want to please sub for please sub for a year. I need a piece of flint. Oh my goodness.
I hear the new expansion is good. It's just, I'm going to be honest, I'm so burnt out of the subscription model, the MMORPGs. I just don't think it's worth it, especially with how the fundamental systems of like questing, all of that is structured. So it's just like, it's not offering me a good experience. And it's the one thing I liked with the FF14 was that it made raiding very easy in a sense of how you approach it.
Very easy new controls. So here's the thing, right? So WoW expansion within.
Yeah.
Story is okay, very woke. Overall content is very good. Delves are fun, raids are good. Gearing system is pretty good. Talent trees. I know you hate talent trees. Val.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, I like talent trees.
Oh, I don't know. You've always spoken ill of them for a while. For a while.
Trees, I just don't like talent trees filled with get plus 8% crit. It's like
those do exist in the talent trees, but they generally like will not so much in the class talent tree, but in the spec and definitely in the hero class trees, it'll change your gameplay.
Yeah,
it'll change your class.
That's what I like. I like stuff like that. It's like
but there is stuff like this ability gets an extra charge, or like you know, you get 2 + 2% critical chance and like 5% crit damage, you know, stuff like that. And it's not great, but I'm just like, it's like stuff like that, like those sorts of stats, like critical hit, stuff like that, like that should be on gear. I agree with Val, but like stuff like, oh, you get an extra charge of an ability, or like,
I like that,
or like this ability procs something like, I think
exactly.
That should be in a talent. I think that's appropriate to be in a talent.
I completely agree with what you guys are saying. Ramsey says, is there any chance to build a paladin type class? Yes, in fact, that is my goal for my next build video, is to have that paladin, which is going to be the flail, and it's going to be the sword and shield. You know, like, I'm not gonna lie, like that's what I would do. There's a couple of different activities. Jeez. Watch my brain have a fart. Now, I haven't gone through and played any of the new weapons yet.
I have to do this quest.
Oh, go do the quest. Great sword right here, and then it is, I would say, was one option. You could pick, like, I would say you could build a paladin with a great axe, hammer, great sword, sword and shield, but I would personally go with sword and shield and flail.
Red used to do a paladin build.
Not
much. Where the hell is this?
I have to admit, the one thing that would get me back into WoW is if the developers went back through all the previous expansions and tidied shit up in terms of questing and being able to give me things in a chronological order in a really neat way where I could basically access and track everything without add-ons, without any of that. Just give me like a collections list, do all of that, make it as, you know, whole as you could do as a finished product.
So really, you don't really need add-ons anymore. Aside from like maybe an auctioneer's, like an auctioneer sort of thing, and like a DPS meter. That's it. Like,
you do, because when you're trying to quest, it automatically completes the quests based on your account completion and not based on character completion.
No, it doesn't. Not
yes, it does for the robot that they changed it.
There's quests that I do that says your warband has completed this quest. It doesn't complete quests for you anymore.
If you go into the map, you check on the top on the new character, it'll say, yeah, the quest completed.
Not anymore.
Oh good, I'll check it again.
Not anymore. Because I've
Fix
done
that.
I've done a lot of quests that are just like, yeah, you've completed this quest before, you don't have to do it, and it's just like, no, I'll do it again.
I really wish I could have gotten into WoW. I just never vibed with the game, and I've struggled with it every time.
I do it as an MMO.
The only thing I'm kind of torn about is achievements are account wide instead of per character. I'm kind of
I just want to toggle.
I have mixed feelings about that, because at one point it's like, yeah, it's easier, you can do things on multiple characters, but at the same time it's like, I did this on this one character and it's like a legacy character, so I'm just like, I kind of wish.
I just want to toggle.
Yeah.
Honestly, like certain things like at the heart of Azeroth.
Oh, I missed a question. Let me jump in 1 second. Zombie Jesus says, in New World, can tanks do some damage compared to WoW? You're just a damage sponge, and you have to buff and debuff. I think tanks can definitely do some damage. In fact, like all it is from a tank perspective is you're just putting out a weapon that generate or a skill that generates threat. So you can build yourself heavy and really spec for damage. And so, yeah, I think that is what it is. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, in WoW, you're a damage sponge. In
being this action, it's not tab target because like I can block and like I can get out of the way of things. So it's like when it's all said and done, like it like you can say, hey, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna take this ability and I'm just gonna be good.
So in WoW, your main damage mitigation is cooldowns, and like blocking and parrying and dodging is all RNG. In this New World, that's an active thing, right? So if you want to block an attack, you just hit right click and you put your shield up, right? Whereas in WoW, it's just, oh lord, I have to pop a cooldown to guarantee a block, or I have to like pray to the RNG gods that I can that my character blocks when the attacker hits, and I'm just like. But
to me, WoW's comfy. That's just like that's the basic. Like I don't view it as an MMO.
Yeah.
I view it as a lobby game, if that makes sense. A bit like Call of Duty. You've got you've got your single player, and then you've got your multiplayer aspect components, and that's like raid, that type of stuff. And because you don't have to do that, that's completely optional. Even I kind of view it almost like a Destiny.
Well, WoW.
Yeah, Destiny.
Well,
like,
WoW, like Destiny modeled itself heavily off of Destiny. I mean, yeah, WoW, Destiny modeled itself heavily off of WoW.
I mean, they're under the same company at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Forsaken's still the best Destiny expansion. That was the least WoW it ever was.
Yeah.
Like the Dreaming Sight was fucking amazing. Excuse the language.
You're good.
So let's have a look. So I'm logged into World of Warcraft because I don't have a running sub, I have an ending sub soon. So let's have a look at maps. Map quests.
The ESO is that active combat for blocking and dodge rolling, but your main goal is to debuff monsters, hold threat, and buff your group, and don't actually do much damage yourself. Interesting.
Oh, that's fair.
Is it fit?
How's that quest coming, Yimrin?
Good. I'm getting it done.
Sweet.
So, Yimrin, you might be correct. I might have fixed that.
But when you accept a quest, it'll say like
so
at the bottom of the quest, like at the bottom of the quest window, text window, above at the bottom, but above accept, it'll say like your warband has completed.
Oh, I get that, but that's not what I mean.
No, I know, but like that's the only thing I can. That's even remotely close to what you were talking about.
I'm sending you a photo of what I mean.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be like. Just go ahead.
Delivering the ingredients to more gain.
Oh, I hate how
That's so.
Discord-
But that makes my day. That I need to get that. I need to get that. If you know the timestamp for when he called me far left, I'm gonna make a clip out of that tomorrow.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Welcome,
I'll find it, yeah.
Val. If you haven't been paying attention, man, we've been having a lot of fun.
This week has been insane. This week has been very interesting
Someone
for the work the game
You?
community.
Well, this isn't new to me though. I get called far left and far right. I get called an Xbot and a Sony pony. Like I literally, I'm just like, I'm just somebody who tells you how it is. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and it boggles my mind. It cracks me up because I don't fit into any one bucket. 1 second, I got somebody at the door.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I mean, Yammer. I'm just showing you the photo.
Let's see. Oh, that?
Yeah, I want that gone. Like that should be 0 for every single new character I make.
We had Spider-Man come by
Okay.
the house here just a
You
second
see
ago.
what I mean, though?
Yeah, that. I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's per character or.
It's a count.
I mean, I don't know if they made it per character or if like it's account wide.
So previously,
haven't
it was
noticed.
per character because achievements per character only. Now it's Warband, so it's account wide. The problem
Okay.
is, I want to go through those stories each per character, and I can't now because I don't know which bloody quest line I'm on if I've done them all, or which ones I still have left to do, or anything
Okay.
like that. It's just brilliant. It's ruined. I need like by the way quests or something like that to figure out how many quests in the area I still have to do left on that and storyline, and it's really annoying.
Okay. Well, I haven't noticed it for other things, but
Just have a toggle, Just have a
Yeah.
toggle. It's not hard, but they have it for other things.
they have it for the more recent. All right, I gotta get out of here.
Like you have like Warband completed quests, and if you just attach that to the toggle, it would be fine.
They have that for the latest expansions. But like it's not. I get what you're saying. It's not a retroactive. They haven't done it as retroactively as they should.
No,
It's in the past like
Mhm.
2 or 3 expansions that don't have it, where that would be 0 out of 7 per character.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? For me,
And then you get
like,
the option to like
yeah.
skip it all or whatever.
Yeah, for me, they
because of-
should not have introduced Warbands until it was fully complete in terms of the basic fundamentals.
I think what they should have done was you get to choose what's on your what characters are on your warband.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Because there are
okay.
characters I have that just like
You've got your
like-
favorites, and you've got your the rest of them, and you should just be able to switch them in and out.
yeah, like I have favorite characters that I'm just like, yeah, I would like these 4 characters or these 5 characters to be, linked together. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine. Or just
I just like to have a chronological story, or if I'm completing zone by zone, to do it
Yeah.
that way, because that's what I find to be relaxing in WoW. I'm not
Yeah.
a massive raider in WoW, because I just can't be, I
no,
got
neither am
enough
I.
games where I have to do social stuff. Chances are, I'm more likely to do that in New World, because New World isn't forcing me to bloody play the thing with a, this is your
Right.
12-month sub. This is your
Right.
New World also doesn't have what you're talking about either. So
Yeah, I know. It's more sandboxy where I can just go pick up an axe and then just go have fun.
I'd say it's. What do you say, Brian?
I would say
90%.
I'd say 65-70% theme park,
Okay.
30%, 35% sandbox, because the sandbox is that
Wait, you really think that much is theme park for
Yeah.
for New World?
Yeah. So you got all these quests, right? So it's like a lot of the stuff that in the quest, and you have like if we go to the activities, you see more content being added in here. So from a PvP perspective, Now you've got kind of 6 different pieces of content
I see what
from a
you're saying,
PvE
yeah.
perspective. So it's like that's there, but then you go into like your character, and then it's like, okay, you have like, you know, trade skills. Like this I would say is sandboxy, because this drives the economy in and of itself. And then when we look at the map, you can see here they turn off territory ownership by default, but you can turn that back on. Let me see here under filters and say, oh, it shows also, interesting, a quest that will be available soon, repeatable quests and faction influence. So you can see here, you know, so this would be something I would consider sandbox, because it's like, yeah, this is changing all the time. You can see here, Covenant is taking a huge chunk, but it's there for people who want to engage in it. It isn't a requirement to do that, and so it gives you that choice. Now, Zombie Jesus and Noctis are talking in chat. I want to catch up with them. He says, if you want an MMO with a great storyline, SWTOR, Amazing Star Wars Story, it has different storylines for all the different classes. That's one of the games, like with SWTOR, like I wish I would have played it more. I just, you know, like back when I was playing it, it had the subscription, and it's like, okay, and then it's like, all right, I just kind of fell off of that.
It has an optional subscription.
It has optional stuff now, but it's not on consoles. It doesn't have controller support, and I think those, like, I think, especially like when we look at Ashes, if you're going to launch an MMORPG and you're not on console and you don't have controller support, you're going up against, that's just a knock against you now at this point. That would be my argument.
I mean, also too, it hasn't, the subscription is technically optional. However, in order to get the full features of the game, you have to
that's so
pay.
much. I think that's worse than having or not
It's
having
definitely worse, because you either have to pay individually for all of the features, and I don't think they're account wide. I think they're character per character, or you just pay the subscription and you get all the features. So
it's like
I pay the subscription because I do dabble in it every now and then.
How much is
I just can't justify subscriptions for an individual game anymore.
What? It's 15?
Like wow, yeah.
I'm sorry, that's way too expensive.
That's generous. Zombie says if it's free to play, but if you sub once, you get all of the current game forever, even if you end up unsubbing, which is, yeah, that's generous.
It's generous for about 3 months, and then you've basically gotten over how much the game would have cost anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I disagree that $15 is expensive.
I think that's.
I don't think $15 is expensive. The problem ends up being is that we don't actually have Netflix right now, but we have HBO Max, right? And because I'm really excited about Creature Commandos coming out pretty soon. If you guys aren't excited, raise your hand if you're excited about the DCU. It's like, let's go, baby. I'm looking forward to it. So we've got that, but it's like it isn't a function of money. It's a function of time. And if I have something just taking money out of my bank and I'm not putting time into it, that is, in my mind, such a waste of money, because I could put that into the market and make money. So I'm having a harder time than ever before to justify a single subscription. Now I have Game Pass, right? So I get all of this other stuff over here on the side, but why would I want to individually sub to it, especially an MMO, especially because there's also, I would say, better, higher quality products out there. New World Aeternum being the best example I can think of.
For me, it's a question of content.
Yeah.
If Netflix, for example, is charging you, what is it, like, how much is a Netflix sub, Brian?
They pushed it up. I think we're looking at $15 most likely. I think we were paying like $8 or something.
If Netflix is charging you $15 and it's got hundreds upon hundreds of shows, you cannot say an MMO is worth $15 at that point. The amount of content at your disposal for $15 compared to an MMO is massive.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, an MMO max should be about $5. It should not be 15. It cannot be
it's a matter of perspective. I think it's purely a matter of perspective. I don't think it's as subjective as you think it is.
I just view it in terms
because Netflix, if I had a Netflix subscription, it would be a waste for me.
Yeah, if you're not using it, then you're just wasting money.
Whereas an MMO is more worth my time.
Noctis, are you looking forward to the Dune MMO? It's a sandbox MMO. Makes sense because they have a giant box of sand. I'm actually, that's one of the like MMOs I'm most interested in seeing how it performs, because that's launching in 2025. And it's not, like, at least from my knowledge, it's not launching like an early access or something like that, which I would label Ashes of Creation as an early access MMO as it opens up its servers and stuff like that.
That's an alpha game.
Yeah, it is. It is an alpha.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also say, I also view it as there's other games which are single player with multiplayer online functionality with absolute free access to the servers forever until the game dies completely.
Oh, yeah.
They do not have subscriptions. They offer just as much content. And it gets to that point of, why would I play WoW when I can play Monster Hunter? Why would I play WoW when I can play Darktide or Vermintide? Why would I play WoW when I can just play COD? You know, and
they're different games.
You can get all of
right?
that in a Game Pass subscription.
But they're different games.
But that's kind of his point.
They offer. No, it does matter because
it's the same functionality that you're offering in terms of
that's why WoW needs,
because it's WoW, not because it's not.
Right.
Not because it's, you know, if I want to play a WoW, an MMO, like if I want to play WoW, I want to play WoW, not a game that's pseudo WoW. Right.
I don't need a game which is pseudo WoW. I need a game which says, okay, here's are the features. These are the features of the software. These are the other features of software. This software costs $15 plus box price plus MTX. This just has box price MTX with the same features and software. So online functionality. Yeah. I'm going to go for the other one. I'm going to be honest.
Right, but it's not even, WoW, it's not equivalent to WoW though.
That's why I think Game Pass Ultimate should include the WoW subscription. Like I think, like, because that would be like, oh, like that in my mind is what I see the business model becoming, where it's not like you just have that all-encompassing subscription and you get a whole wide range of products. And WoW, I think, perfectly slots into that, especially because it's 20 years old and people could still individually sub for those who wanted to do that. But as a part of their ultimate, you know, package, I think that would be something really, and then I would say apply the ESO subscription to it, like to where you end up having this blanket thing. That's what I would say with Amazon Prime. It's like it's an optional sub that you have, and it gets you all these features, and it benefits New World in some degree, benefits the Amazon's games, and they do that through like the various different cosmetics. So it's just there as like a little thank you. Thanks for playing the game. Thanks for being, you know, a Prime member. We're just going to make this umbrella that's going to help, you know.
Games are games. You play them for fun. And the software, if, you know, this is the thing, right? You may like WoW more. Great. You know, I played WoW for 7 years. I like WoW more than Warhammer. I'm still going to play Warhammer because it's less expensive.
Yeah.
Better graphics, better types of gameplay. Like, WoW's old. Like, they're not offering me WoW 2. You know, I would actually consider maybe paying $10 for a sub if it was WoW 2 and it was modern and it had, you know, up-to-date graphics, up-to-date infrastructure, up-to-date network code. Yeah. You know, up-to-date servers, up-to-date systems. It's not. WoW is buggy. It's got a lot of
the problem is to do all that, to really truly bring out that release, the amount of money and effort is not a multiplier of 2. It's more like maybe a multiplier of 200, where it's like the amount of stuff you have to do. And so that's just added cost, and the risk is so great there, you know, like that's why you don't see it. So I think the business model for MMOs,
Blizzard on that would be not my problem.
Well, agreed. Right. But that's why you see them, and they're going to continue to invest in the game that people are, you know, playing, and they haven't, you know, they're making money. They got enough.
Right? It's like not Destiny's my problem. Get Destiny 3 out. Like, I don't want your...
Well, they set themselves up for that by calling it Destiny 2, as opposed to just like, okay, we've got this platform called Destiny. In fact, even you brought up Call of Duty. Call of Duty right now is actually more of a platform that has an annual, you know, expansion, because you go and you fire up Call of Duty and you're like, oh, I see Modern Warfare 2. I see all this. Like, you can choose and pick and play what you want, which I think is, honestly, is quite ingenious. And we're going to see how long they go with that. Yeah, Zombie Jesus says, he says, you're comparing pasta to steak. They're both food. It's all about the flavor. And I love pasta and I love steak. Yeah.
I disagree. I think not all software is equal.
WoW's not that great. Well, I'm going to be honest, WoW is very archaic and old. Like, just having the brand World of Warcraft doesn't mean anything.
I still think the game is fun.
Yeah, it's fun. All games are fun, and that's the point.
Not all games are fun. No.
Those games are fun.
Games are supposed to be fun. Not all of them are.
Well, and the ones that aren't don't stick around.
I've played unfun games, and I don't like them.
The only game I have not had fun with was Witcher 1.
All right, let's roll. Okay, so there's gonna be guys that spawn up here. We're gonna take them out, and then we've got the boss inside.
Okay.
Ta-da. All right. This guy, he's a world boss. Please tell me he's here. Please tell me he's here.
I am dreading with everybody moving to Unreal is the shader with Unreal. With the preloading of shaders. It makes me want to hang myself.
The guy might not be here. I've been just like waiting. I'm like, oh, we gotta fight this guy. Okay. You want to run an expedition and see if he's here when we wrap it up?
We can, yeah.
All right, cool.
I mean, I'm low level.
What level are you?
I'm 61.
Oh, dude, that's fine. We'll just put ourselves into queue. And we'll say random. I'm gonna say select roll.
Oh, select roll.
Lock it in for the healer.
Lock in.
Cool. All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right, we'll see if he spawns. Oh, we already got a group. There we go. People like Goat Simulator and Dating Sim with Colonel Sanders. Everyone has different taste and flavor. And that's the thing, like when we talk about, especially like we were talking about with on the podcast and Culture Wars, that I'm perfectly fine with the market sorting itself out, right? Like nobody, I don't owe anybody any money to play their game, you know? And because that, I get to decide what I want to do. And so I'm more for what I would argue is an informed gamer. Like what's included in the game. Do you like and do you agree, or do you want those things, and then you make the choice that for what you want to play, rather than just be a straight up diehard consumer of product, you know?
I'm much more aggressive on it. The market is sorting itself out. It takes like, how long have we seen for the past 10 years on this stuff? It's been like 10 years with the amount of crap they've been putting in the games.
Yeah, but that's also because they've had a dominance, a monopoly on media coverage, and
the boycott really hasn't happened until the past few years.
Well, this is the most successful one.
And it just got worse. And then it took, what, 5 to 6 years for them just to sort out loot boxes, and a lot of games still have them.
Yeah.
And that's only because of regulation getting put in place. I'm much for people pressuring their government to sort these companies out than just saying, I won't buy it.
I disagree. I would not want government intervention until...
I would have trade commissions rake these companies over the coals.
Man, the thing I've always wished for is that we would get like a consumer advocacy group, rocking and rolling to speak, for the gamer, like it literally is lobby it. Like the answer is that we need a gamer lobby. It's like, okay, like guys, these aren't good practices, because there's a level of addiction that you see. People are just like, there's gonna be people who don't know that there's stuff that they don't like in the new Dragon Age, and they're gonna get frustrated, and I think it's ultimately gonna hurt the IP. But that was the choice of the developer.
What people don't realize is that most people are willing to accept, like most people would agree there is an acceptable level of wokeness.
It's not the wokeness, it's the monetary practices, it's the bad license issue practices that we're concerned with. And this is the thing, right?
The discussion that was on Friday was mainly about wokeness, right? So
it's like, I'm fine with people in the market sorting itself out over wokeness, because that happens. People are but it's the logistics of stuff. It's you don't own your games. It's we will shove monetization into this, and we will not give you any actual content. It's this stuff that people will never sort out. It will take 10 to 20 years to sort out. And I'm like, that's too long. This needs to happen like within 1 to 2 years, and that's when you get governments involved. And it's like the stuff with pirate software over the stuff in EU recently with the pros, people should have access to their games have been bought.
Hey, Val, can I ask you to do a favor? We got a question in chat about my life staff and flail build. The latest video I have up on the channel is basically that, walks them through all of it. Would you mind going and tossing that link into the Twitch chat? Just so, and hopefully you can do that. And if you can't, let me know. Just so that Topsy can get that. Topsy, it's the video that I released today. If you,
It's the most recent video, isn't it?
yeah.
What channel was it?
Ginger loves MMOs. Yeah, it would be easier just to drop the video for you, because rather than be like, hey, let me pause mid-dungeon. Good luck, guys.
Life staff and flail build.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing this thing, and I'm like, I don't have a true A/B testing, but whenever it comes to guides and stuff like that, I always mark it not to notify y'all. So it's like, just because it's like not everybody needs the guide, and so it ends up, I think from a guide's perspective, a bigger level of success because it's not pushing the guide out to somebody who's just not going to ever watch or need that video.
Yeah, there you go, some shit.
Thank you all. You are the man. Cool. Thanks. And if you got questions, let me know after that for sure.
There's a lot in terms of ambiguity
Ambiguity.
when it comes to the actual foundations of what you own, property rights, that type of stuff, which is...
Well, it's so funny. It's almost so poetic that Ubisoft was like, better get used to not owning your games. Oh, all right. I guess we're just going to get used to pirating them.
Well, you better get used to not having a job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because if you don't own the game, then piracy isn't stealing.
Yeah,
So
like
it's the guy's logic, and it's like, kind of makes sense.
I'm generally against piracy, but we're seeing plenty of exceptions for it right now, and it's like, okay, if that's the only option you give me, then that's the option I'm going to take. Thankfully, I haven't pirated any games. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to sit here and judge you if you do.
The problem is you get treated better as a pirate than you get treated as a paying customer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the problem. Like, you know, it's like Pirate Software, great example. We came up and said, I don't think this is the answer. And it's like, it's not the answer for you as a business person, but I'm not a business person, I'm a consumer. And this is what's in the actual culture of countries.
Yeah.
Because it's not for games, it's all entertainment. It's anything that's digital. And it's like, it's up to you as a business to service that country. So it's up to you to adapt to the country's laws. It's not up for the country to service you. It's completely different. It's backwards here. It's completely backwards. And we're like, oh, well, I just want to service the country. It's like, fine. Then you won't get access to the market. Take your business elsewhere.
Yeah.
It might be the European in me where it's like Americans and Texas, where it's like you use tips as an excuse not to pay for stuff you live in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, it's like your restaurant just shouldn't exist. Go away. And it's like a lot of Americans think very much offense to it. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah, the living wage is a real problem. The fact is like, I don't blame anybody for like going like, well, maybe we should relook at Marxism as a good. It's like, no. That's the worst idea. But we definitely need to get more people able to get into the system, and that's not leveraging them with like hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, preventing them from even buying a home in the first place. And we need to build. You know, like we get some homes out there, let people be able to afford it.
So funny thing. Yesterday I was watching Scrag actually play Metaphor.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game. I can see why people say it's woke. However, it's not.
It's not woke. They're literally like
because
trying to like.
It's only so if you look at it at a base level from like a story, like from a ideas standpoint, like yes, it's about racism, like equality and stuff. However, how it deals with things is really kind of just not woke at all. And so what happens is there's this chick who's very attractive. And I was like, dude, I do her. And then she spits out, and then she makes a speech to the public about like stealing from, like, beheading the rich people and like stealing their wealth and distributing it. And I was like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
And then, but it's funny because at the same time, one of the characters from your party hears the speech and he's like, yeah, but wouldn't like the king be the first to go?
Yeah.
And that like, because the person's like, because the chick says, when I'm king,
Yeah.
when I'm queen. And the guy was like, if you were the queen, wouldn't you be the first to be beheaded?
Right. Yeah. It's like that's you.
Work that way.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's rules for thee, but not for me, please.
Right. Exactly.
The Fabled asks is like, would this be a build for a new player starting out, or typically for endgame? I would say that this has got a ton of survivability, and I prioritize survivability, so I think this would be a perfectly fine build for starting out, and you end up taking on kind of a healer role, so you end up getting a lot of benefit from that in terms of queue times for content. You saw that we got in here pretty much instantly, so it was awesome. It's like, yeah, bring a healer friend.
Well, one thing I'm seeing is that my shots are not always connecting, and I'm not sure. Oh, wait.
For me, it's have regulation. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to be straightforward. People need to understand it very easily. And you know, it always has to have the consumer in mind, the average person in mind. I'm so tired of having signed this license and it's 500 pages on a EULA you will never read.
Yeah.
And everything is designed for you not to even bother. Because you don't have to solicitor every single time you want to use an application.
Although I'm weird.
What's a good pair for the Hatchet and PvE? I would recommend Sword and Shield.
Hatchet? No.
You
Well, it
wouldn't-
depends. Are you going Berserk or Throwing Tree?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because if you're going Throwing Tree, yeah, Sword and Shield. But if you're going Melee, I would say Musket.
Musket would be good. Yeah, that's true.
Because you don't never want two ranged weapons. and
Right.
You never
You
want
want two melee weapons.
You always want one weapon to leash, or basically attract the target, and you always want walls. And then you always want something that will help you when an enemy gets close up. So now I do Hatchet Throwing Tree, and I pair Greatsword with that.
It's a question, Brian. So how bad do you think Veilguard is just gonna die?
I think it's going to sell at least like 1 million or 2. I don't think it's going to do what they need to survive.
My question is, do you think they'll get that million just by
the name.
Bring on GeForce now?
By the name. No. I think
I don't think
it's
Dragon Age is that well known anymore.
I think regardless, there's plenty of gamers who are like Dragon Age, and then it's like all you got to do is market to them a specific way, and they'll just go and spend the money. And that's always been the problem with the video game boycotts. Is like there's just not enough informed, consumers. They're just like, oh, this is but it had like the thing that you're right. It is working against them because it's been so long since they built it. They originally was Dreadwolf, and now it's Veilguard, and they've completely changed it. I've heard they've ruined the characters. I'm not concerned though, because I wasn't gonna get it anyway. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh man, they ruined my favorite game. They didn't. I'm good. Like
The horn dudes, they look really badass. Now it just looks like humans with horns. Like there's nothing.
So yeah, there was a ton of lore behind what they even were.
Musket Rapier is a really good choice, Noctis. Yeah.
That's what I'm using right now, actually.
Musket Rapier?
Musket Rapier. I do Blood Tree instead of Finesse.
You should send me your build. I should test it out, because I wouldn't mind putting out, guide and stuff on that.
A lot of the lore retconning really, and it's not even retconning, it's like it doesn't make sense in the sort of the mechanics of the world happened in Inquisition. It starts with it's because it was like, the whole point of the Dragon Age is the land basically has magic, but only a few people have it. And not only that, the vast majority of the continent is psychologically scarred because you basically had what was the Roman Empire, but controlled by mages. And they basically just abused everybody.
Mac, I would say go with either a bow or a musket, because like if we pull up the just the weapons
melee tree,
right?
Then I would do bow or musket.
See, because you can see here, hatchet is under strength, but it also falls under under dexterity. So then you would want to look at weapons that would be dex based. So like the musket would be a really good option.
So it's scaled. So the hatchet. So actually, they have a really good like system in terms of like the ones that are really like white. Weapons that are really white, that's what they mainly scale off of. Whereas they're sort of faded, that's what their secondary stat is, that they don't scale as well off of. So hatchet, while it scales primarily off of strength, it also gets some bonus from dexterity.
And then you can also gem slot various things, and also there's artifacts that can also change the stat that it scales off of.
So see that horned race you said looked awesome?
Yeah, I forget what they're called.
Yeah, what's up, Fabled?
So the race is called the Cossack.
So one second, sorry, I'm gonna jump in because Fabled says, thank you so much. I used to follow you a lot of your Final Fantasy 14 builds. Maybe they were on a different channel, not sure. So yes, I retired the Final Fantasy 14 channel and turned that into my comedy channel. So I got the comedy podcast and a couple of my comedy clips and things like that I've done from stand-up. And that's just where that channel is, and that's where that's just going to be. I have taken some of my Final Fantasy 14 guides and popped them on here, and so this channel is really just going to be my MMORPG channel, where it's just like, yeah, we're going to talk about MMOs. We're going to play MMOs, and that just it feels way more manageable because it's like there is a value in making a channel that is just about one game, but it's just from a time commitment perspective, I'm like, it's just gonna make more sense to go about it this way and whatnot. So thank you for I'm glad you enjoyed the Final Fantasy 14 content. I put out the so I have it, like I released the Viper and the Pictomancer controller guide for the latest expansion, but I haven't played through the expansion yet because I set a restriction on getting below 210 pounds, so basically 120 pounds to lose. I'm down 80, so we're still working on that last 40. And so
I've actually been going for walks lately.
Dude, it's so helpful.
And I've actually lost like
it helps walking.
Literally like just 2. But
yeah.
I feel better about it. So
I got lost in London on Tuesday because I decided to go for a walk at lunch.
I mean, it's not terrible. At least look at the bright side, right? You're lost in London. If you're hungry, you can just like round the corner, right?
No, literally, there is McDonald's in this, like.
But like that's my point. Like I once got lost in a national park. That's not fun.
I was like, where the hell am I doing?
Hey, anytime, Mac. And if you're anybody is ever here and you're obviously hearing Yemrin and Vol, you're welcome to jump into the Discord. Even if you don't feel comfortable sharing and having your voice broadcasted. I always just want to make sure you guys are aware. If you guys got questions, if you're struggling, you need any kind of prayer requests as well, jump into the Discord. Top link in the description. We'll get you there. Admiral Black Powder.
Well, yeah, man, the race is called Corsa, but the religion they follow is it's a philosophical religion like Stoicism. They remove your name and any form of identity that you have and replace it with a job. They do not care about things. If you have any opinion against what the majority of leaders say, they re-educate you with drugs.
Interesting.
So this whole Inquisition, they went, oh yeah, I can be a man or a woman. No, they never allowed that. Like, even in Dragon Age Origins, do not allow this for women. This is not allowed. It's just not. Because they are not perfect. And it's utilitarian to the core. If you're a mage, they will robotize you.
I was gonna say, like, is that even allowed in the freaking game itself? Like in the world of the game?
Hyrule Farmer just dropped 20 gifted subs over on Twitch. Thank you, Hyrule. It gets us 50% of the sub goal that we have over here. I will update our member goal. I think that pushes us, or gets us close to 50, 20, 47. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Appreciate that support, dude. Absolutely. Just that is so generous. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's like in the books, when you're attacking a city, it will drug you, lobotomize you, and turn you into basically monster for Warhammer equivalent. So you're basically just drooling as you do the lumber. If you are anybody else, they will replace your name, call you basically their language equivalent of head, and basically make you work until you are grounded, or they break you down effectively. It's like,
thanks, bud. It's so good to be called a goat, especially this week being called so many interesting labels.
why did you get called Black?
Dude, I get it because I will always debate and have good faith conversations.
Left wing, even though the guy who called him left wing
Agreed with everything I said.
Not everything, but agreed with him on most points. So I'm just like,
what was the policy? Like, what was the thing? Because you're Catholic. That's the opposite of left wing is left wing.
No. Catholics are both left and right. Like that's the thing. Like as a Catholic, you think about it both on the left and the right side. It's like, okay, let's figure out what makes the most sense. Oh man, I missed him, darn it.
I'm gonna be honest, from a modern perspective, anything theological is effectively right at this point.
I was gonna say anything theological. Yeah.
Not necessarily, because I would say like you got the corporal works of mercy. Like we are, called to care for each other, right? But that doesn't I think translate to it's the government's job. It's my job as a Catholic. Visit the sick, visit them in prison, care for the sick. Things like that.
Yeah, but charity's not like one. That's the thing.
Well, I think one of the I think the problem with government charity is that the government can't love you. So it's like it ends up being a lot. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
I think that left view themselves as progressive, and what they view as progress is getting away from anything traditional.
Right, and that's why it ends up. Unfortunately, like I saw like a post, is like, why is there so much LBGT pushback and why is this increasing? It's like, guys, like y'all's movement has gone so far that you've gone, like people just can't even like, they're like,
Here's the thing, right? Like they've gone so far that people who actually fought for like gay rights are saying, I'm sorry, we shouldn't have done that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like with the LGBT community, it's been real refreshing to see them. Like a lot of them are stepping up, and yeah, they're getting ostracized, but the movement's growing, and so it's like they're like, all right, guys, like let's. Yeah, that's why I was like, come on, I don't want people to feel like that their lives are in danger and things like that. So it's like.
I don't think it's because they feel like their lives are in danger. I think they feel like the stuff they work for the past 20 years is going to get shredded.
Wait, you're talking about the older activists? Or you're talking
Yes.
The older activists, yeah.
The older activists are afraid that they're basically they're gonna do a setback.
It's also because the newer generation is actually using the argumentation that effectively of what the church used, which was it's a choice, whereas older activists are like, no, I was born this way. The minute you make sex identity, gender identity, sexual orientation, and in terms of identify that way, is the minute you're saying it's a choice. So you can't, say I was born this way, and then 20 years later say no, it's a choice. You can't do that. Every single victory you've won, or it was.
See, because I have always argued, especially from the choice question, is like I say it's a choice to love my wife. Like it's like we all make choices, right? Like there's always going to be that choice. Now, as to like who you're attracted to, I don't think there's, like a lot of control over the attraction, but whether you choose, like how you choose to then, because like my wife she'll never owe me sex. She does not owe me that. I don't have a right to that.
Well,
and it becomes a choice that we decide to engage with that because of, like our love for one another,
Well, it's because love in the older context versus love in the modern context are two very different.
Well, I think a lot of people talk about love in the modern context, that attraction and that excitement, like that.
Love and love
it's Well, it's also that like honeymoon period of like, oh yeah, like, you know.
What is this tank doing?
Love and lust are very much merged together to be the same emotion. These days are like, oh, I can't remember if there's not that chemistry. And it's like, that's never what love used to be. If you go back to ancient Greece, lust is very much frowned upon. Well, love is basically more akin to, you know, you love your neighbor, you love your friend, fellowship, camaraderie. You have that same with your wife.
There's also different words for that.
That's carnal.
Yes.
But there's also like infatuation, right? It's like one thing that parents instilled in me was understanding the difference between love and infatuation.
Yeah, there's lots of people who mistake that.
And infatuation is very closely tied. I found at least is very closely tied to lust.
Oh yes.
And that's a much. I'd say lust can be as strong as love, but on a much more, I would say, biological or carnal level, right?
Noctis has a great question. Are you going to try out Monster Hunter Wilds beta this week? Absolutely, dude.
Wait, it's got a beta this week?
Yeah, it's got an open beta this week. I think it starts on Tuesday. I think it's just confident. You know, it's like.
I would like to see what beta runs on a PC, because obviously the PC specs are saying it's going to be 30 frames, where it's like, it said that with World as well, and World it can 60 quite easily, even with the HD texture pack.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see what it's going to come out of that as. Again, with, you know, upscaling that type of thing, they'll say, well, it's upscaled 60. Well, no, it's actually 45. It's like the AI aspect to it, great for older cards. You shouldn't need it for newer cards. And I think that's where a lot of the pushback is going to come from. If I've got, let's say, a 40 series or even a 30 series, I shouldn't need an upscaler. I shouldn't need the frame generator. What's happening?
You can't go into the lightning, dude.
So it's going to be interesting. I think the console players will certainly. That's going to be an interesting around that. How well is it going to run on PS5?
Take it to the wall, buddy. Take it to the wall. So if you guys if I do post anything on Monster Hunter Wilds, that's going to be on Ungender Prime, just as a heads up. Because that is essentially kind of what that channel's kind of really been focusing it on. Watch out for that lightning, gamer. Cool. There we go. Awesome, got it. That's where it's like I gotta keep y'all healed up, because that holding that just like drains your life.
Yeah.
You should probably try and get like a stream of Hurricane or something.
Zombie, like we're seeing a kind of a return to like betas actually being testing, and I would say the fact is that with this beta and that Wilds isn't coming out until like February or something like that, like that actually is what I would consider a beta, because 4 months is a good chunk of time to be able to take any kind of feedback and lessons from the beta and implement them to some degree. No one's like, when everybody's like, they need to redo the whole battle system, and it's like, that would be a red flag. It's like if that is essentially what people take away, like, oh man, combat sucks, it's like, well, that is a problem.
My main concern is the fact that it's an open world when past things in tight world, and how it's going to impact performance. I just want it to have an easy way for me to team up with my friends, because World, when I played it, I was like, this is really good, but then it was such a pain. It was such a pain to get into a party, and I'm sure that veterans are like, this is just how it is. Okay, let's not make it. Let's say it needs to be better. So I'm hoping Wilds is like, just let me invite my friends. Stop like having me pick a server, and then it's like I posted this quest, and then are you in? Are you in? Are you in? It's like, let me invite. Give me the ability to preform my party, and we're good. And we're good. Like that's all I need. That's not how it is done in Japan. I don't care how they do it. Japan usually has. I'm going to be honest with this. Everybody's like very reverent of the Japanese community. I could not get two shits. The way they do stuff is retarded. I'm just going to point and say that it's the same in FF. But the Japanese players, I do not care. Two shits how they do it. The way they do it's stupid. You know, it's like, well, it's very polite. I'm not getting it. It's not fair. You know. maybe I'm being console here, but I'd rather
Hey, what's up?
good, whether rather than something which is kind.
Well, that's one of the core problems we have with social media is that more and more people only do things because it looks good, not because it actually is good. Horace with the using the channel points. Thank you so much with the hello and howdy.
About systems, and not in the sense of the Japanese systems are very bad, but they're bad because they were designed to make people immoral. Whereas I would rather
Yeah, I'll be right there. We'll see.
And then them to have them moderate the system.
We're gonna, yeah, we'll do ice cream after dinner if you guys are behave. Oh no. Almost just ran off. We will see. That's my plan. As long as you guys are well behaved today, and you guys have been really good. Asking about ice cream. We got ice cream sandwiches in the freezer. Good, I love ice cream.
Chocolate ice cream. So I had an old man this week. I actually can't remember that.
Oh yeah, Wilds with cross-platform. Like they're talking about all the good things. So that's the only thing I'm really interested in is how easy is it for me to play with you guys, because that's what gaming is for me. It's a social outlet. It's to hang out and play games. It's yeah.
You know what? I want to see come back for social games and LAN parties.
LAN parties? Sorry, what?
No, LAN parties.
Oh, I just don't think that's like that was a thing. I think a thing of its time.
You see that? Because they said that arcades are talking about it.
They have?
Yeah,
I've seen retro arcades.
I like the movie theaters are bringing them back because there's not that many good movies anymore, so we have to bring back all the old stuff we used to have to give people value for money and actually stay in the theater.
Yeah, I like that. I like the new theater approach where it's like, let me reserve this space and then we'll go from there.
A new theater approach? That's normal.
Well, no. Like I remember growing up in high school and college, like you'd have to go if you wanted a seat. You didn't get to reserve your seat. You had to go and wait in line and pick it that way.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, go ahead and you pick your congrats. You pick your thing. So it's like
what I have been seeing a lot more is like
Mystic Doubloon, baby.
Cinemas, which are like gentleman lounges where you can drink, smoke, have meals, that type of stuff, go out on a date, that type of thing, where it's just like 10 people in a room max, and you pay like 30, £30, £40 for that, and you just have like a really good evening, rather than being stuck in, wherever you are. It's like the only thing I had in America which was similar when I was in like Disney Springs. And there was like what's the big, is it AMC cinemas or something like that?
AMC Regal.
Where it's like the menus.
Oh, you're talking about Alamo
Dreamhouse?
Alamo. What the hell? Oh, this guy's here, by the way.
Is he here? Oh, he is? Sweet. Let's I think we have to find the wall.
I'm on the inside, so
okay, I was like the vegetation wall. Alright. Cool.
Alright.
Let's do it. Watch out for don't stand in fire, just as a heads up. Just I know that's hey, here's a concept. Oh no, get out of there. Get back here, I'll heal you.
Keep dying. Holy shit.
I think we need more than just us.
Oh, it's gonna take a little bit of time. That's why I was like, I've done this solo, and I was like, no way.
Oh yeah, so yeah, man, I actually hurt my back this week.
Yeah, dude. That's rough.
Yeah.
Me last year.
I was moving stuff, like I was actually moving like stuff into the apartment, like, you know, chairs, that type of stuff, and I was like, mirrors, that type of thing, and I didn't realise it until I sat down the next day and I came down the picture and I was like, what the hell is going on? That wasn't the whole back, it was only like a singular spot.
Yeah.
I should talk to Ackman. Yeah, what was his face? Andy Pants Gaming. He also blocked me, and it's like, dude, like that's the thing where I'm like, y'all aren't doing the movement any favors.
That was I agree.
And it's like, and that ties into Insomniac. Now, how do I get a hold of Ackman? Honestly, I think that comes down to, does my community want me to actually have that conversation? And it is like, if they don't, that's fine, but it's like I get recommendations off of people. Like, it's not just like, hey, can we collab? It's like, I've messaged them, but it's like, who am I? It's like, I don't have this expectation that everybody's like, oh yeah, I know this guy,
It's an X-Man.
Yeah. I would not. I don't think Ackman is productive, but.
No, he's not. He's not going to say.
I see with Ackman a lot. What I would say is that he almost like he'll be like, why is it this thing? And it's like, well, here are the reasons why. And it's like, yeah, so it's like, I don't think he needs. But his thing is like every video game can be woke, like that. And I agree with that. Like, people are just trying to throw that term out.
The issue is that wokeness is very prevalent.
Yep.
And things may have woke elements but are not necessarily woke.
Yeah.
And see those woke elements and are just like automatically jump the shark as opposed to being skeptically like optimistic, right?
Well, for me, it's like woke means a ton of different things. Like, yeah, it can be left-wing ideology, but for me, it's like corporate and government policy enacted through entertainment to try and influence me to believe certain things.
Oh, if you get these orbs, if you touch the orbs while they're floating around, they prevent the ground from catching fire.
It's like if the government was trying to shove Christianity down my throat through the game, I would feel the exact same way I feel about them trying to shove social justice shit down my throat.
Yeah.
I'd go, get that hell away from me. And it's like, it's like, there's a time and a place for everything. Video games is not a place for that time.
Oh, that's my key thing, and that's why the example of like, if all of a sudden Mario, because he's Italian, is like, let's talk about the Catholic Church, it'd be like, maybe another time, Mario. Like, I'm just trying to jump on some Goombas, yo. It's like, come on.
It's just like, there's a time and a place for everything. For everything there is a season in a sense, Brian. And video games just aren't that. I'm here to play Doom. I'm here to play Harry Potter. I'm not here to talk about warranty. Or my extended car warranty, or have I heard about car? I don't care. Or yes, I'm here to do whatever I want. And there's a certain things where there's like Baldur's Gate where it's like, I'm fine with you putting that in the character creator as long as it makes sense in the world. And to Baldur's Gate it did. Because there is actually real reasons for stuff that they've put in, which I'm fine with. But again, it's like franchises that never had that to begin with and were never there to begin with. When they put it in, they don't do it in unique and interesting ways that fits the mechanics of the world. And it's just there. And it's there for representation and nothing else. And it doesn't make any sense. And it's like they've not put in the necessary work to justify that representation. It's very lazy. And I kind of labelled it the Jon Stewart effect in my mind, of it's easy to be political rather than creative. Being creative is very hard, being political is very easy. It's very easy to say a slogan, Oh,
it's incredibly easy. That's why slogans exist.
But it's like, we're going to cause this drama, this political drama over here. Don't look at how bad the content is. The content's bad by the game, but it's like look at the shiny over the content they're actually trying to sell you.
Yeah.
That's different.
It's like, what is it? Because I see it's like
no, that comment was not to you.
No, it's like
that was to what I'm doing.
I know, but it's like if there's any other industry, like if I acted to my customers the way these community managers acted, or to a random person. I would be fired
Dude,
tomorrow.
if I told a customer, like, I've worked a lot of retail, just like, if I told a customer, like, hey, fuck off, we don't want you here, I would, like, seriously question if I had a job the next day.
Yeah, you'd be sacked immediately, or
Yeah,
you'd be put
like
on,
the job of a, that's the thing, like these
Or
companies,
I'd be put on,
they-
like, probation.
these companies, like I feel like, people are like what's kind of the history and origin of it? Like the more I study it, the more I kind of just like research, like it really all stems from Occupy Wall Street. It's like you have Occupy Wall Street, which essentially that's like like to kind of appease that's when all of a sudden you start seeing these companies like sponsor gay pride parades and like various different like social elements is as just a way not to pay people more money. It literally is like, we're gonna do this rather than pay you guys, and it's like, and that's where all of a sudden you start seeing everybody kind of buy in, buy more into it, and now like you're seeing kind of a rejection of that.
For me, the best way I can describe modern games is that they are effectively the equivalent of modern art. They're very abstract, they're not really anchored to anything real, and it's basically you can infer whatever you like from them. And it's like, that's not what people want. People want something which is part of a candy. They want something which is part
One
of
thing that completely pisses me off is when people say art is subjective. I'm just like, no. Most art is not subjective and has authorial intent.
Do you know what I don't like is when people think
I feel like that is a modern concept simply because people interpret different things and then they're told, yeah, well, you can think that if you want, and it's just like, yeah, you can think that if you want, but it doesn't mean it's right.
So you're actually correct on this, that it's market research, right? So if everything is subjective, market research wouldn't exist because there's nothing to research, because everybody has their own unique postmodern idea on this thing. There's no when somebody says that I subjectively like this, chances are someone else next to you likes that exact same thing, and so does the next person. And then you can split your player base up to like maybe 3-4 quadrants over the different subjective things they like, because they're all going to kind of like very similar things. That's market research. Like you are not unique. It's a good example is the one with the. Have you ever seen the tomato sauce case study?
What tomato sauce study?
Yeah, well, it's like
I've heard of it. I don't know the
So
details.
there was like people. There was an idea that people either like thick or thin tomato sauce, and it turned out there was actually 3 groups. There was thick, thin, and chunky.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, people subjectively like those things, but there was an objective thing they subjectively liked.
Yeah.
And a ton of people like that objective thing. It's human preferences aren't that subjective, and when they are subjective, it's subjective to an objective thing. Because we live in an objective world where you can actually go and touch something, taste something, see something. You don't get mass backlash over woke crap.
Oh, you're in the sire. 1 second.
Yeah, it's okay. I still got some time. Freaking the fire got me, and then the freaking blades.
Stand in it to give me DPS.
If I can revive you. Fudge.
No, what happened was the boss freaking like kept knocking me into the fire. I'm just like balls. Do you have a shield or something? Like a magic shield? Ooh.
I'm trying to hold back so he won't let me res you.
Alright, I'll do that.
Yeah, see if you can respawn, because then I can just keep plugging away at him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, it won't let me. He just keeps tapping me.
Have you ever, we watch a lot of video game reviews and stuff, right? A lot of the stuff in those video game reviews is the exact same stuff.
Oh yeah.
These people don't watch each other. They come out the same time. That's subjectivity right there. It's subjectivity, but it's kind of all the same stuff. It's I don't like this, I don't like that. And it's kind of the same themes repeated again and again and again.
I mean, that's why people follow reviewers, because people have similar tastes, right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't follow a reviewer who likes if you don't like grindy shit, you don't follow a reviewer who's like, man, I love BDO.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's not something you do.
Well, to be fair, the amount of people these days in the MMO community who don't love doing this shit is actually insane.
No, I know, which is weird because like MMO is
Oh, okay, yeah.
like the pinnacle of grindiness. It's weird.
I thought you were talking about like the. I think he made a video like called every game is woke or something like that, and I was like, based off of his like debate.
Criteria,
Like,
technically, yes.
well, yeah, but like with Andy Pants, and I was like, yeah, I get it.
He's not. I think he's different. I think he's one of those people who's.
He's disingenuous.
Oh, I absolutely think that's what Andy
I
Pants
think
is.
he might
disingenuous.
actually be like a legitimate grifter.
He is a legitimate grifter.
I think.
Like,
That or he's
actually
having a mental health crisis. Like it's
I
like,
think he actually doesn't believe the things he says.
I don't think he cares that much.
well,
No.
then it's all about attention, and then he's gotta live with himself. Oh, we gotta.
Well,
All
so
right,
he's gotta live
he
with
reset.
himself,
He
but
reset.
money
That's okay.
Makes it very easy to live with yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, my campsite's gone. All right. All right.
Because we
The thing is, right?
Yeah.
Gay people, yeah, the Dragon Age Origins, plenty of them
Yeah.
in there. It's like, well, how is that expressed in the world?
Exactly,
You know,
zombies. That's exactly what I was talking about, zombie. Like,
For example, if you have a world where there's a church, the church isn't exactly going to be absolutely thrilled that people aren't having kids or stable families or things like that. You know, they're going to be very traditional. They're going to try and maximize the benefit out of their community as much as possible. And that means very atomic family, traditional family units, that type of thing. Because
you look
that's
at like what's the truth behind that, right? Like it's
Yep.
like how does culture how do you survive? Well, if you don't have kids, like that's fine, like that's a choice, but you know, like there's that you're not going to live forever, and so it's like do you live for today, or are you thinking, you know, ahead? And it's like, yeah,
Well,
and it changes
it's
at your
because there's
perspective the second you have a child. It's like everything changes. You're like, oh,
it's because there's an actual method to the madness there, in terms of like, well, why don't we follow the clan structures of old Europe anymore? It's because, well, there was a lot of infighting for one, there was a lot of family drama for another, and the church went in and broke that up by saying, no, you're not allowed to marry your cousins anymore.
Right.
You're only allowed to marry someone 8 separations apart, which is your 8th cousin, which is effectively some random stranger in your country at that point.
yeah,
The church went in and broke that up for an actual reason, and if you're going to have a world where that's not happening, there's going to be a lot more assassination attempts, a lot more squabbles over inheritances, and
Yeah.
you're going to have to show that.
yeah. Humanity,
You know,
we're flawed. Like, in, you know, from as a Catholic, it's like we're fallen, and that's one of the things. Like, it's like why, like Marxism, communism, like those are systems, and that are great. Like what you can talk about on paper, because the family unit is communist, you know, in that regard. So like as a family, like everything I have, my kids have. Like it is, you know, like that's what it is. But the further you extrapolate that out, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this system doesn't work because you know, innate jealousies, you know, focusing on kind of individual. And that's why capitalism has been so successful, because it's like the market will truly decide the winners and losers. I don't think we have a capitalist society right now. I think we have a corporatist society. And I think that's where a lot of the more injustice is being accrued, because people can't buy into the system. But when you have that idea that the market, like the fact that they bailed these people out in 2008 and no one went to jail, like that in and of itself is that's like criminal. That's criminal. Like that's unexcusable. And what that tells companies and banks and all this stuff is that, yeah, be stupid, we'll save you. And that's, I think, what seems like the plan is just to literally like let the debt get so out of control that the only solution is to inflate it. And then if you don't own assets, if you don't own property, go F yourself. Like that's what I'm like. No, this is not acceptable. So, we need to fight again. I do need to wrap up now. So, sorry guys, I gotta go. I'm sorry to cut you off. But yeah, it's time. It is time. I'm gonna go hang out with the family. Gonna get some kids some ice cream. I'm gonna read stories to them. I think we're gonna see at the Hobbit, or I think Mikey got a couple new books from the book fair. So I'll see if I can go read to them. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Sorry we couldn't do Ashes. Maybe we'll find some time to do Ashes this week. So until next time.